Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here on the Yoders Talk. We are super excited to dive into today's topic. We're going to talk a lot about Africa, our experience in Africa. It's going to be a fun time. We have some guests that are coming on, actually two of the guys that went with us over to Africa, get their impact or their input on a lot of the things that we've seen, a lot of the things that we experienced. And so I am excited, Corey, to get into another episode here of our experience in Africa.
Yeah, I think this episode is going to be full of just awesome videos, what we experienced over there. And so it's going to be a little longer of an episode, but stick with us because there's a lot of great content, especially on the back half of the episode. So we're super appreciative of us, and we hope you enjoy it.
Stick with us. Here we go. So guys, thank you so much for tuning back in here to the podcast. You know, we have a amazing episode today, Corey, that's going to just, I think y'all are going to really enjoy it. You know, we spent all this time in Africa and things of that nature, and we have just a ton of content that we want y'all to see as viewers. And so it's going to be a lot of fun today to go through this, kind of relive our trip. Yeah. So Corey, you know, we've been gone for, it was 10 days? Yeah. And it was just such a kind of, it was kind of a spiritual time, and it was just nice to kind of get away, and it was so God focused the whole trip. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to kind of live in that moment. So, but yeah, today we brought on two of the guys that were with us over there. To my right here, we got Mr. Jimmy. Over here we have Mr. Lyndon, and man, guys, we're going to have a lot of fun today on this episode. Are y'all ready for it? Ready to explain to everybody the adventures and things of that nature, and hopefully it'll impact you in a good way too, listeners. You know, that you can truly see the needs of the world and things of that nature. So, you ready to get started?
Yeah, I'm. You know, before we jump into like a lot of the content, I kind of want to hear from each of us, just what was your expectation kind of going into the trip. So we'll just start with Lyndon. You know, kind of walk through some of what you kind of expected going into it.
I really didn't know what to expect. I'd been to a little bit to South America, and I've been to Israel once, but I still didn't really know what to expect. There definitely was a lot more people just on the sides of the streets than I was expecting. There was people everywhere.
Yeah, 100%.
And also the layout of the land, I wasn't really expecting that either. I was expecting more like what we saw on the safari.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there's, I think for me, I went in kind of, almost thinking like there was going to be a little bit of a more primitive type situation, because I mean, you see when you're over here in America and you see, you know, different videos and stuff like that, or different content of that area, they really show a lot of but there was a lot of modern things that when I got over there, I was like, wow, okay, all right, this is not that much different. You had to make some adjustments on some stuff, but I was pleasantly surprised that, like, I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What about you,
man, I would say, you know, you hear a lot when you go on a mission field that, you know, you're going to go over there to, you know, the impact that you can make on people's lives. But, you know, what really took me back, and people had told me this before I left, you know, the impact that they'll make on you.
Yeah.
And I would say that's probably was what stood out the most to me, man. The hospitality was unreal. They love to serve you. They love to. They get excited when you come around. It's like I mean, in a sense, if you kind of know what a celebrity would feel like, because they just crave the attention of the people from America, and I didn't know that it was at that level, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was kind of it took me back just a little bit, the way they view you, and it was amazing. I mean, there's so many things that forever in my memory will be stuck and will be, life changing. It was life changing.
Yeah.
Truthfully life changing. So, what about you, Jimmy?
Something a little similar. I expected to go over there and for them to see us as white, Americans that got it all figured out, and just a different outlook. Just them seeing us and be like, but it was quite the opposite. When they seen us, the hospitality, the love, the smiles, the hugs. They embraced us really, really well, and it just really gave me some perspective, and that's what I was hoping to get out of it. Just come over here, maybe a different perspective, and life changing, like you said. It just opens your eyes up to what we have here and what we.
But the gratitude. That's something that just I come back and I was thinking, well, on the airplane ride back, I was thinking, the blessings that we have, that we take, like just turning the water spigot on.
Yeah.
Just the way they cook their food. I mean, the way, they have, a lot of them have to carry the water. It's just so many things that we take so for granted that is a luxury to them.
Yeah.
And it was just that whole experience. But and there's something else here. Like, by the way, we've embraced the African culture. As you can see, we don't normally come on a podcast with these bright colors, but we decided today that we're going to embrace it because these are very special to us. These shirts. We and you'll see throughout the videos that we play through this episode that these were made by actual and orphanage school. We got measured, and then by the end of the trip, they had them made for us. And we'll be honest, mine fits amazing.
Wow, that's best. Like I'm a bigger guy, so not all clothes fit me the best, and that's 100% on me. Could make some dietary changes and probably fix that, but hey, they nailed it. I mean, they nailed my shirt, and
I like your birds, man.
I do too. I saw it. I said, I thought, in my eyes when I was looking at it, I said, I got blue eyes. This blue will just make my blue eyes pop, and maybe take my wife on a date night one night, and just hey, just show her why she married me, But yeah, guys, I mean, and to be honest, everyone, we're gonna try to do a good job on this episode of highlighting a lot of the fun stuff we did, a lot of the exciting stuff we did, but we're going to also do a couple different things. We're going to have another episode that we kind of highlight the why of why we went.
Yes.
And then we're also going to try to do a whole separate video of just the whole trip. And so we're going to you're going to see some things on this episode, but there's also going to be some things that we're not able to show you on this episode that you'll just have to wait and kind of see as we piece all that content together, because we have a lot of it.
Yes, and we want to highlight the the fun things, but there are, the truth of it is there's things that we want to also show y'all that are serious and things that will for me broke my heart.
Yeah.
And so this wasn't all a just fun trip. There was moments that really just, like I said, it really broke your heart to see what some of these children are, conditions they're in and things of that nature. And I don't want it, we're going to laugh a lot, probably joke around a lot, but there's also a serious side of it that hopefully we can kind of paint that picture as well later in a later episode.
Yeah. So let's just dive into the trip. So we left out of Atlanta, and we took off. It ended up being the first flight over there. I think it ended up being 19 and a half hours in the air
total. Yeah, that was because we flew from Atlanta. I think our flight left around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or was it 9:30 out of Atlanta?
Yeah.
On a Saturday evening, and then we flew into Turkey.
Yeah.
And then from Turkey we flew down into Uganda, and the total flight time was around 19 hours. That's just in the air.
Yeah.
You can just tell in that video that we're realizing how long of a flight it's going to be, and we're hating our lives. Like we're just like, oh my goodness.
It was, the truth of it, the flight over wasn't near as bad as the flight back.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say, just because I think there was a lot of excitement of, we're going over, it's something new, but and leaving at 9 o'clock at night, we were able to actually get some rest.
Yeah.
On that first flight, but
speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself. Yeah, y'all two, you and Conrad were kind of jammed.
Oh man!
In the back, we got blessed with exit row seats the whole flight, and that was worth every bit.
Oh, game changer.
Yes.
I think that was my thing as we're the first flight ended up being a 12-hour flight, and so when you take off and you're in the air for an hour, and then you look at the little tracker and it says you got 11 hours left. I mean, you got to get a little mentally tough for that flight. But and as we flew into Istanbul, I think everybody in America, like we see, like I've been to some bigger airports. I've been to Dallas, and obviously left out of Atlanta. But we landed into Istanbul, and that airport,
oh my goodness,
is massive. And
not just massive, but beautiful.
Yeah,
like
gorgeous.
They got a mall inside the airport. Like when I say a mall, it's legitly a mall.
Yeah. And we got to explore every part of it because we landed in one side of the airport, and our connecting flight was
14 hours later. We've arrived to our next gate.
Yeah.
Not quite.
And I mean, we had to walk. We landed in F, and then we had to go all the way to B.
Yeah.
For our next connecting flight. So we got to experience a lot of that airport and see it. But we also got to experience some McDonald's in Istanbul.
Yes. That was actually very, very good.
Like, it was okay. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think it had a little different flavor.
Yeah.
Just a little.
It was
still McDonald's.
Still McDonald's, still kind of the same okay cheeseburger. But so we left out of there. We flew down to Uganda, and we ended up getting to Uganda probably about 5 o'clock in the morning, Ugandan time.
Wasn't it 3?
It may have been 3. By the time we got out, it was
yeah,
like
you're
5.
right. Yeah, by the time we got out, you're right.
And so it was kind of got through customs and everything, and can I just say the Ugandan customs make it a breeze.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
That's how it needs to be everywhere.
Yeah. It was like, we got held up a little bit there, but
yeah,
a little misunderstanding.
They didn't want to let Lyndon in the country.
Yeah, they were like,
we get that.
Yeah, look at them.
But so the flight was awesome. The food, even on the flight, that was something I kind of didn't think was going to be good, and ended up being good.
Turkish Airlines was solid.
Oh, dude, yeah. If you get a chance to fly Turkish Airlines, do it. They give you a blanket. Not a lot of people give you blankets. They give us a blanket, pillows. I mean, everything you needed for that long flight. So
2 full-course meals.
Yeah. Had a little breakfast. Had some pancakes with, what was it, like blueberry syrup on it or something like that. It's pretty good.
Y'all got syrup?
Y'all got syrup?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got syrup.
That must have been an exit row thing.
Yeah. Luxury. Dry pancakes.
But just an awesome experience. And so we get on the ground at Uganda. Pastor Micah Camper came and picked us up from the airport. And we kind of started, we flew into Entebbe. And so, but where we were going to kind of be based out of was Mbarara. And so Mbarara is about 6.5 hours away.
It's a long, long, long drive. I'll just say that. Especially being tired.
Oh, yeah.
And let's go ahead and just say that maybe chill it on the speed bumps.
Yes.
There is no sleeping on a 6-hour drive in Uganda because you hit a speed bump every quarter mile.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I even mentioned it to some people. I'm like, hey, probably dial it back on the speed bumps. So we took off, and so first impressions for you guys of driving around in Uganda. They drive on the left-hand side of the road, which to me, when we pull out of the airport and you see Pastor Micah, you know, he's pulling out on the wrong side of the road. Like initially, like I kind of hyperventilated a little bit, and which wasn't bad because it's so early in the morning. But by the time we picked up Pastor Kip and Stephen at their hotel, and we kind of got out on the road, it kind of got a little crazy. And I think Sean's got a video kind of to show just the traffic.
Yeah, this video really doesn't do it all the justice in the world because, man, there is so much traffic. I mean, it is unreal. And there is, if you get your nose in, it's your right of way. You have the right of way.
Yeah, and you can see in this video here, all these motorcycles. They call them bodas there, and so the traffic is just. I mean, look at all those motorcycles, and they just zip in and out of traffic. And so, even as a passenger, I'm like, oh my goodness, that dude's about to hit us. I mean, guys like Lyndon and Jimmy, like, what was y'all's impressions of the traffic?
Yeah, like I said before, I've been to South America a little bit, and it's this was about 4 or 5 times above that. There's so many people that there's just people everywhere.
It had 50 million?
Almost 50 million.
Yeah,
people
I think
live
it's almost
in Uganda.
50 million in such a small country.
Yeah, it's unreal. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you got to also, you don't just, when you're driving, you're not just looking at the bodas or the motorcycles and vehicles. You got to watch for people.
Yeah.
Because they are everywhere. They'll walk out in front of you.
They've never heard of a crosswalk.
Yeah. There's nothing like that.
No.
Like you seen in that video, there was a guy with a blinker, but a blinker means nothing to no one. The faster vehicle has the right of way.
Yeah.
And during the day, it's not that bad. Nighttime, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what they carry on their
goodness.
vehicles. Like we came upon one, you know, and I think there's a photo that we can show y'all, but it's a boda or a motorcycle. I got to get used to. I've been used to saying boda for so long that I got to switch to. I'm like back home. I'm like, hey, there goes a boda, and my family's like, what? Anyway, but what they carry on them bodas is unreal. I mean, there was one where I guess they were taking their goats to the market, and they had 3 goats. There's 2 people and 3 goats on a little motorcycle.
Oh yeah, that was like so. I mean, we saw one dude. He's got like rolled up metal, like 12-foot sheets of metal, just tied to the back of his boda, and I'm like, dude, like I almost sent a picture to Barry and been like, hey, this is your new delivery vehicle.
Getting rid of the Moffat truck.
And it's just amazing. And then when you talk about like the taxis, if one of the taxis wrecked in Uganda, there would be like 48 casualties.
Oh, I'm telling you, there was. I don't know if I was in a vehicle. I'm not sure if y'all seen it, but there was a vehicle. There was like I guess it was it kind of looked like a dump truck, to be honest. But and they had the back, and when I say the back was full, I don't want to stretch it, but I think there was between 60 and 70 people on that thing.
Oh yeah,
it was unreal.
Yeah, I remember that one. It was like 4 or 5 people wide, and it was 10 to 12 people deep.
Yeah, just stacked. So
yeah,
it's definitely different over there, and like so as our American perspective, we're like, what in the world is this?
Is OSHA a thing out here?
Yeah.
or what?
100%.
Where's the law for this? Weight ratings? What's that?
Yeah, and we actually there's a video that we'll also add of a truck that like just straight up like the frame cracked, and it's just sitting on the side of the road. That
well, actually in the middle of the road.
Yeah, in the middle of the road. So traffic is just it's a little crazy coming from our perspective, which, like Pastor Micah did such a good job. He's like, no, this is fine. Like he's so used to it. It's been over there since February.
Yeah. And too, that, I mean, that's their culture. Yeah. That's what we're saying. We're not, downgrading, it's what they know. And to be honest, if that was in America, we'd have a wreck every 10 feet.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like these guys are unbelievable drivers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's remarkable.
The awareness is just there. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like they're just aware of their surroundings. Like you constantly see people checking, turning.
There was at one point we were driving. I was riding with Pastor Kip, and we just cruising along, and all of a sudden we kind of came to we had to stop pretty quick, which is common. You have to that brakes get used every 10 feet. But we had to slam on the brakes, and next thing we know, wham! Some rear-ended us.
Yeah.
And the driver that was driving at the time, he just looked in his mirror and he's like, "Oh, Boda. Oh, they're okay." We just kept going. Everybody just kept going.
Didn't exchange insurance.
Nothing. I mean, just rear-ended us, man. And everybody's fine, so they keep driving. There ain't no, well, we got to pull over and let the state show up so we can get a
police report.
Yeah, police report. No.
We got time.
It was definitely something that eventually I got used to it. And then coming back to America, I had to let, the first couple of days, like I told my wife, I was like, "You're driving." I was like, I got to get back acclimated to this side of the road. But so I guess the next thing I kind of want to go into is the food. So,
ooh, yeah.
So
the food.
Real quick, I want to talk from my perspective. Food was a challenge for me.
Yes.
I
seen you hit a wall a few times while you were eating.
So I have like a little thing, like I'm picky, not as far as food. Obviously, you can see from my size, I'm not picky on food, but I'm very picky on how it's prepared. And so there was some things that happened that I was like, it's a challenge. But I found some alternatives. Like you can see right there, that's a pizza. I lived off a pizza. There's some chicken skewers I found that was pretty good.
Look at that fish.
We didn't eat that fish, but
you'd be surprised. We had fish fingers that could have very likely came off of one of them Bodas.
Yeah,
probably did actually.
So Jimmy, real quick, tell me. I want to hear from each of you. What was your favorite thing you ate, and then what was your least favorite?
Probably the chicken curry. Was that Cessi?
Yeah, it was in Cessi.
The chicken curry was amazing. It was really, really good. I hate to say this, but the night we were actually at Pastor Camper's house, and I tried something different. I tried the stomach. I think they were the intestine. I think it was the intestine. And I talked to Lyndon. I was like, "Lyndon, how was it?" And he's like, "Oh, man, it's like beef jerky." I'm like, "Okay, I can do this." I put it in my mouth, and right away, I mean, I was chewing for about 15 minutes. And I just grabbed a cup of water and I was fighting it. And another thing I want to talk about the food just a little bit is, here in America, my stomach, y'all would know, I've always had little stomach issues and stuff like that. And if you don't, you know now. But my stomach regulated, and I felt good. I felt better. I didn't have acid reflux. I didn't have the things that I have here. And now I'm acclimated back at same old.
Good old acid reflux.
Yeah, it was, but yeah, all in all, very organic food. It was good for the most part. It was just looking at it, you're like, what is this?
I think a lot of it was just challenging. Like it's something we don't eat normally. And so that made it difficult. Now, Sarah, your cooking was great. Jimmy's just crazy. I didn't try the beef intestines, but it was
just
good.
The beef intestine.
But man, for me, I didn't hate the food. I'll be honest. Yeah. Like I kind of enjoyed it, which I'm big about trying different cultures, foods, and things of that nature. Which I noticed that they're very starch based. There's a lot of very starchy foods. That's kind of, which makes sense with it being the economy and what people have to can afford, and what people make as far as a living. That it makes sense why it's more of a starch based food. I mean, it's something that they can grow easily over there and so forth. But man, I don't know what I like the most. I mean, they call them fish fingers, and at the one restaurant we ate, there was some fish fingers that I got that were like this is not getting a bag out of the Walmart freezer and throwing fish fingers in a fryer type of stuff. This is fresh fish that they cook and turn into fingers, and that was probably some of the best fish I about ever ate, to be honest. I know we hear about the beef intestines, but that was my first meal.
Yeah.
My first meal when we got there, and I'll show you a photo of it here, but I'll be honest, like, it wasn't bad until you think about what it is. And then it's like the way I picture intestine smelling is how the taste became. So I would say that I'm not going to drive out of my way to go get beef intestines. But I noticed that that's very common.
Yeah.
It was a very common thing.
They do a really good job of using everything that they can.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, that's, to be honest, that's probably, Americans, we're a little wasteful.
Very wasteful.
And so I think for me, the best thing that I found that kind of bailed me out a lot of times was the chapati.
Oh, the chapati. Oh, man.
That stuff is so good. And I actually found a place in America I can get it. So that place is about to get a lot of business from me.
You got to stop by and bring us some one day.
I do. I really do. So that chapati was awesome. I didn't really, so I wasn't as adventurous as all y'all. Like, as soon as somebody would say, like, hey, this is this, I would be like, not happening.
Smart man.
And so I really didn't venture out very much. So to say, like, there was something, the worst thing I ate, I really didn't. I was very picky on what I put on my plate and stuff. So there was a couple things that, like you say, I hit a wall on a couple things, but nothing crazy. Most of it was not the taste; it was just the mind factor.
Yeah.
Of getting out of that American.
Did it for me was the mind factor.
The food overall was good. Like that's something they call it G nut sauce.
Yeah.
Which is actually peanut sauce here. They call it G nut, which makes sense. I mean, it's in the ground, but us Americans complicate everything.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Called G nut sauce, and it's basically, I think it's like a peanut paste, if you want to call it that. And it went really good with a lot of their starchy foods. You put it on there, and for me, I really enjoyed it. That was kind of something that kind of came with every meal. I noticed it was kind of just a thing.
Kind of a standard, like for us, it would be like mashed potatoes and gravy.
Right.
In the South. So, Lyndon, what about you?
Yeah. I really enjoyed everything too. I used to be, when I was young, I was really picky, even like tomatoes and onions and stuff like that. I didn't really want to eat that, but I've made myself try new things, and now I'll pretty much eat anything. But like Jimmy said, the chicken curry, that was
so good.
That was one of my favorites. And funny story on that, when they were preparing it, we were all sitting there waiting on our food, and all of a sudden we all start coughing and our eyes watering and sneezing. And that was them preparing our chicken curry back there.
Yeah, it got rough.
We had to open the windows there.
It was very strong, and honestly, because I ordered it too, some of the best curry I've ever ate in my life. The flavors were so good, but like, I got worried when you're sitting there, they're preparing it, and the kitchen's not just right up on you. It was a good, probably 25, 30 feet away. And the whole dining room is like sitting there coughing. I was like, oh my gosh, this can destroy my acid reflux. But I was fine.
Yeah.
So the food was really awesome.
Yeah. What about drinks?
Navita.
Navita was amazing. I loved the Crest, which I know some of y'all could not handle it.
Do Crest.
I liked it too.
It's like a lemonade with really no sugar. I don't know if it has a little sugar in it, but it has a kind of a bitter aftertaste. It's something that throughout the trip, the first one I had was like, you know what, I can do this. It wasn't like, oh, it's the most amazing thing, but I kept drinking it, and they mentioned that you kind of grow into it, and I'll admit, like, it's very refreshing. Got done when we were golfing, finished golfing, I had one that was like just refreshing, man. It's
that's I mean, it's not a bitter aftertaste. It's an aftertaste that kicks you in the back of the throat. Okay, it is rough. I stuck to Novita, and I'll be honest, one of the best things that, because when you go for 10 days, like, you get homesick. Like, and one of the things that kind of always brought me kind of, if I'd go do this, I'd kind of be okay, is I'd get me a Coca-Cola out of a glass bottle, and it just kind of brought me home. And so that was big for me.
There was a lot of pizza too.
A lot of pizza.
Like, and it's not the type that you would say Papa John's or any of them.
No.
It was a good clean. It was like a clean pizza. I don't know if that made sense.
Had carrots on it.
Yeah, the carrots. Listen, I love now. That's the best Hawaiian pizza I've ever ate because the pineapples are so fresh.
Yeah.
They're so sweet. But carrots does not belong on pizza. Okay, that's the one thing I would tell them. But the pineapples and Pastor Micah, and I wish we would have tried it. They had a banana pizza that I wish we would have got one night. But next time we go over, we're gonna have to get it.
We'll have to try it.
But so the food was definitely something that I think for a lot of us it was a culture shift, but finally kind of settled into it. But so let's just jump into kind of the days, some of the things we saw. So our first day we got there, we got traveled, we got back to the area that we kind of stayed at the farm lodge. And so that night we actually got to go spend some time with a trade school over in the Embarks area that they're kind of doing to kind of shape a different perspective for these kids, that they're just not dependent on people. They can actually be the answer for Uganda. So we got a clip. We're going to let Pastor Kip kind of explain what they're doing there.
And so what we did is I got with Pastor Edson, who's our resident pastor here at Daystar Cathedral, and he had this vision of having a trade school on his property. And so we just started with that, and we started recruiting some of our kids from the orphanages that were graduating out. And so we just graduated our first class of tailors. They're learning the tailoring skills at this trade school. But what we want to do is open it up so that we can, at every one of our schools and orphanages, we have a trade school option for them to go into. They can go to university, or they can go to a trade school, or both. And so we want them to have that availability. So these kids are skilled, and you'll see some of their work, and you can even order a shirt or a dress for your wife, and they're just super kids. You will fall in love with them there, and they're so excited about, they take such great ownership of this, and they're so proud, and so
I mean, it's unique to see. Typically over there, you see Americans come in and they just say, hey, listen, we're just going to pour money into this country. What the 130 Network is doing, I think, is so important, is they're not just saying, hey, here's a fish. Let me show you how to fish, and create that income for themselves. So I think it's a really cool thing. So this trade school is actually the trade school that made all of our shirts. And so we got to spend a little time with them. It was our first kind of experience with the kids. So real quick, just anybody that wants to jump in, tell me about your experience, like when we first got out of the cars.
I'll tell you real quick, them children were fired up to see us.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like, I don't think my children ever have been that excited to see me. No, I mean, maybe so, but I'm just saying, like, it was like, I noticed that. I mean, the smiles they had, they were so fired up to have us come visit them. And, just their personalities just are amazing, man. The children and their want to learn. I noticed that was something else that stood out to me, was their want to learn. I mean, they crave education and learning how to, this is a trade school, so they're learning how to be tailors and of that nature. And just they're just so excited to see you and to see what you have for them.
Yeah.
In a sense.
And they danced for us, and just really they showed us kind of, that was a lot of fun for me, is seeing them dance and just kind of show their skills off. They took us on a tour of the facility, But it was just awesome. When I first stepped out of the car, it was almost like you got swarmed a little bit. And so, like, at first, like, I was like, what is going on? But, like, eventually, like, Pastor Michael, like, walked over to me. He's like, dude, just embrace it. Just love on these babies. And so it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, you pull your if you want them to just light up, pull your phone out and ask them if they want to take a photo.
Yeah.
And it's like you get absolutely bombarded.
Yeah.
They all and one thing I noticed, like, sometimes the children, and it's not always like at this trade school, it was more just throughout the whole trip, you'd see a little child in town and they'd kind of be looking at you with this, not really sad, and you give them a smile. And over there, a smile goes so far. Mm-hmm. The way they light up when you smile at them, or give them a fist bump. But it's Jimmy, I think, was it you that taught him the exploding fist?
It was some of them were confused, but once I got it, it's going to be the next big thing in Uganda. It's they were just amazed.
We were actually driving to this school, and there was a little girl, and I have a picture of it. And we're just driving by, and she's just standing in her driveway, and I just snapped a picture of her. And she's just standing there just waving at me, and like she did. I know she got excited. She was smiling and waving, but what she did for me was so much more than I feel like I did for her, because like I just seen her just standing in the road, and she was just happy that I acknowledged her. And so it really did. It changed something in my heart. It's just like that was probably the first moment that I said, like, I'm really falling in love with this area. So this trade school is such an awesome experience. Like we say, this is where they made our shirts, so we already have just a deep connection with them that we're going to carry with us. But they actually just had a really cool project where they actually had some pipes ran so that this school can have clean water, which over there is so critical, because they were having to walk up to 5 kilometers to get their water, and it really wasn't clean. It wasn't filtered or anything. So they just got some clean water. So we got a clip of that.
Yeah, and you don't want to drink their water or anything. I want that very clear. Like you will get sick. I mean, you don't brush your teeth with the water. Mm-hmm. They say it's like,
you guys brush your teeth?
Oh no, we didn't know, huh?
Oh, okay.
No. I quit that now. My dentist didn't like that on Monday when I was in there. No, but yeah, it was like, if you drink the water, it's.
You guys have a dentist?
They said even when you take a shower, try not to get too much in your mouth.
Yeah. So we got a video of the new filtering system. So check that out right here.
You on? Yeah. So, fresh water over here is basically impossible to find, and they had someone come and run water from a long ways into a filter system, and now they got clean tap water to drink. They don't have to worry about nothing, and it's actually really good. It's really good stuff. So it's awesome. Love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was pretty refreshing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was nervous, I'll be honest, because I was told do not drink it. And I'll be honest, Micah said something after I drank it that kind of, I was like, oh boy, did I mess up? And I think some others drank it as well.
I drank some.
Yeah, and
some, yeah.
He's like, well, we'll find out in the morning. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, we'll find out how really good that filtration system is.
Oh boy, I was like, this is not going to turn out good, because you get sick. I mean, you get utterly sick if you drink it. I think the parasites and things of that nature in the water. So yeah, I mean, like, that's one of the things that we take so for granted here. Is mentioned earlier, just the thing of turning the faucet on,
mm-hmm.
and having water, and over there, that's a luxury. I mean, if you get running water, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
100%. So the trade school, we ended up spending that night with them. We went back to the farm lodge, and I think all of us crashed pretty hard that night. But we woke up the next morning, kind of packed a couple day bags, and we left out for Embarara, and not Embarara.
Cessi?
No.
No, it is Embarara. I'm sorry. And we went out to the Victorious School and spent some time where I think all of us truly left our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me that was my favorite city to be in, the favorite group of kids. I found a kid that has the same name as my son, my oldest son Jeremiah, and fell in love with him. We hung out a lot, and so we got to go experience a service with these kids and just hear them worship, hear them tell some of their memory verses, and just hear from.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this right now: when it comes to their services, and them children worshiping, and their heart for God, and their, I guess, how they view God as the true provider, and you can just see it through their worship, their emotion, and these are not adults; these are children. Mm-hmm. And it spoke to me like I've never been spoke to before. And just in the sense of that, we don't understand. We complain about our needs in America, and they are so they compare nothing to what these children are going through. And yet, I heard I think it was probably a 10-year-old child told me this, that God provided for us yesterday, and He promises that He'll provide for us tomorrow, and we have faith and trust that will happen.
Yeah,
I mean, the faith that these children have, and the worship that they go, and it's a little different than our American culture when it comes to worship, but you can just feel the presence of God there. So it's remarkable.
The service was awesome for me because it really, a lot of things, it's like the Lord just spoke to me a lot in those services. But after the services, I think the thing that really touched all our hearts is we got to tour their facility.
Yes, man.
And so to see the needs that they have, and in this particular area, this school, they're doing a lot of rent, and they're renting a lot of facilities, trying to make it work. And so they had purchased some new land and stuff, and so there's a lot of good stuff happening there. And so for all of us just to walk around, and you're going to see some video as I'm talking here, that of just their school, what the needs were, kind of what they were doing, the food that they were eating, and things like that. That I think it really, the biggest thing out of this was, I think it just broke our hearts.
Yeah. And just some of the most simple things like their restroom. I mean, just what the way they their urinal, I guess you would call it. The place, the way they were sleeping, and
their
showers, and I mean, we're talking dirt floors, multiple children per bed, and just all the needs, and still in that, they are just so happy.
Yeah.
And there's just so many things that were heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, and I think that for me, as we're walking around those facilities, seeing just like Jimmy said, the shower, seeing, their classrooms, and seeing, the cool thing about walking in their classrooms, you see what they're learning.
Yeah.
And seeing that they have such a desire to change their situation. All they need is just a hand to help them up. And so, and we're going to talk more about this school probably a lot more in the next episode. But I think the biggest thing was it just it pricked our hearts. But we also had a lot of fun at that school too.
Man, them children were
so we got
awesome.
to spend some time with them at their football pitch, as they call it. And I know, I know it doesn't look like it, but Clinton and Jimmy turned out to be some soccer, as we would call it in America, soccer stars.
Yeah, I need everybody to hear this, that I scored 2 goals. I was the MVP, by the way.
That's
I mean, it was against 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, but so
they may assisted a little.
Yeah. When Jimmy scored, the guy dove the opposite way, I think on purpose. Jimmy's like, "Hey, I'm gonna kick it here," and so they had it all planned, and the kid jumped the other way.
the thought when they're coming toward me with the ball, I'm like, please don't pass that ball to me. I can't move anymore. Like, you don't understand. I have to move more when the ball.
We actually got some footage of them on the soccer pitch. It's pretty entertaining.
Any other time. I got a point though.
So you could see right there we're also handing out suckers. They loved the suckers. Honestly, we kind of got mauled.
It was as you can see, we reached a point in that video where our hands went up and we said we surrender, because let me tell you something. You get 30 children wanting what kind of suckers did we have? Dum-dum suckers. And you get 30 of them surrounding you, and the impact that they make on you, they will move you like you're a piece of paper. And we were getting absolutely dominated by these children when
100%.
it comes to, like, we tried to get them in order, like, say, line up, we'll pass them out. No, that did not work. It was a handful of them that got ripped from you in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, Lyndon was the smart one. He didn't even get close to the suckers.
I did a little bit, but I grabbed a camera and acted like I was taking some pictures.
You sit back and just watch it burn.
Yeah, I think there's a really cool picture of you with some kids with the camera. So we'll make sure to add that in here. But it was just such a fun experience to get to see those kids and see, to spend time with them. And that's all they wanted. I FaceTimed my wife while I was sitting over there. And, I'm talking to my wife while she's at work. And it pops up, and as FaceTime opens up and she answers, I've got probably 20 kids behind me. And she's so shocked, and she's like, "Hi everyone," and all the kids are like, "Hey," and they're just talking to her. And so it was such I can truly say my heart is there.
Right.
And so and I know for all you guys and for Connie that's not on this episode, he'll be on the next episode with us. It's such a special area for us now.
It is.
So anything else? Any other impacts about the soccer? I know. Pastor Kip had to have some hamstrings stretched out at one point.
Yeah, Jimmy, made a bad, I guess they call it a tackle in soccer, and took out his shin, and he got a free kick out of it. But
I'd like to challenge that.
Send it to the booth.
Yeah, send it to the booth.
But
that's great.
man, it was such awesome. So we ended up spending 2 days there, and then we after we left there, we went out to Cessi. And so Cessi, we had a pretty long drive through some really beautiful territory, and the beautiful thing of Cessi is there's a mountain range that runs through there, and I don't know for y'all, but for me, the sheer size of those mountains.
Well, I thought they were clouds most of the time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, check out, that's a big old cloud wall over there, and then next thing you know, you get closer, you're like, hold up, that's the mountain.
Yeah, that's a mountain, and so Sean's got some clips of kind of us going into Cessi and checking it out, so he can kind of play it, kind of see. This is the us coming into Cessi. Here, the town, it's kind of a little bit more modern when it comes to that. There's actually a mining town that is there that kind of a lot of the English came in and kind of modernized it.
Yeah.
But so this is the school that we actually came to Cessi to see. they're moving. They have a school kind of closer to the Congo, and they've kind of decided to come and build one a little further from the Congo, because the Congo is such a dangerous place. So they want to kind of give some space away from there. But so you can kind of see this is the new school build that they're building. This is their modern kitchen.
Yeah, they say that this is like for them, this kitchen here is a pretty big deal because it has like 6 burners.
Yeah.
They cook with wood. So if in the video here, you can see right down there at the bottom of them holes is where they actually put the wood in and heat it. So that's going to be pretty big for the orphans or the orphanage in the school there. So
yeah. So this is one of their bathrooms right here that they've built, and Pastor Kip's kind of talking to us about everything that's going to happen, and you can see there's another little bathing facility there, and they're building the 2 dormitories, one for the boys, one for the girls, and then also on down the hill there's an administration building that's being built currently. So just such a cool facility that's going to be able to house a lot of kids. One thing that, looking at the buildings, Pastor Micah was telling us, 150 boys will be able to stay in this one, 150 girls will be staying in this one. And it doesn't look like they'll be able to, just from my mind,
right.
But they're so efficient with the space that they have.
Yeah. It's that bathroom right there that's nice. That's a nice, really nice bathroom for in Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I want to talk about too is, I notice you can't see it a whole lot on this video, but man, their scaffolding that they use to build their buildings. I mean, we've seen some of them. Let's see. I don't know if there's any. You'll have to kind of look through this video and maybe you can see it, but it's unreal how high they go with these little tree scaffolds. Like, definitely not OSHA approved when it comes to.
No,
we would get frowned upon if we used it, but you can see them right there. They are sturdy. Like, they're actually really sturdy. So, and also the way that the buildings are built, them, I guess brown blocks is that clay or is that?
I forget what they told us it was, but they actually make the bricks there. And as you can see, they kind of have them stacked up right there. And so everything is kind of built on site. They bring the materials in and kind of make those.
They mix all the concrete also right there.
Right there, yeah.
That's what amazed me, is every bit of that concrete work that you see, the slab, they hand mixed every bit of it, poured it, finished it, and that's something here that just doesn't happen.
And all those buildings will look like the ones on the right there when they're finished. They'll be all like plastered or whatever on the outside.
Yeah,
that's insane.
So there's a clip here that I'll kind of explain a little bit more in detail of, what they're doing.
So this here is a area that the ministry they bought this land, and they are actually building an orphanage here at this location. It's an amazing location. You've got the lake in the background. They're in like phase 2, I think is what they said. And they're building the dorms right now, and they got the kitchen, the bathrooms all done. And they bought land with this, or extra land with it, so they're going to be able to have crop, have chicken houses on it, things like that for the orphans. And so the plan is they have another orphanage about, I think they said 30 miles from here, that is like on 1 acre of land right next to the dirty city, and these children have never experienced anything like this. So they're hoping by, I think, first of next year to bring that orphanage, all them orphans, over here to this location. And they're actually having a self-sustaining property where they'll be able to, first of all, be safe. They'll be able to learn skills as far as farming, taking care of chickens and things of that nature. So yeah, this is pretty awesome. This is great. Big old septic hole right here that they said it took them like 2 days to dig. This is all dug by hand. It's probably 50 feet down, I would say. Unreal. But yeah, that's their septic tanks here. So pretty cool.
And
hey, I just wanted to give a quick update from our construction at our Cessi Lighthouse Academy and Home for Children right here in the heart of Queen Elizabeth Park. We just are amazed at the progress because of our supporters. You are heroes of the faith, and we just thank you for all that you are doing. Right now, I just want to give you a quick update and then introduce some great friends. To my right, we have the administration block and classroom buildings that are being built for the students. To the back there, we have the girls and boys dorms, and in the background, already the finished bathrooms and kitchens back there. We have a deadline of January 27th of getting our kids on campus here at Lighthouse Academy. We're excited about the progress. It's going and blowing, and because of you, it's going to finish up. So keep sending those funds and being a miracle to these 300 kids that need you. This is Clinton Yoder, and and his team came from Hartselle. Is it Hartselle? Fayetteville, Alabama, and this is the leadership team of Yoder Metal and Construction, and they have just partnered with one of our schools in Ibanda that is in desperate need of some dormitories, and we are excited about this new relationship of 130 and Yoder Metal, and can't wait to see what is happening all over the Uganda regions, because people like this and people like you, that it keeps going and growing. God bless you.
It was that kind of explains the work that 130 Network is trying to accomplish, and it's a good feeling to see things like this and see what God is doing through 130 Network to really change not just every orphan that's there, but change Uganda. Their heart is amazing, and Pastor Kip and his group there, Micah and everybody, they're all in.
Yeah,
they are all in, and it's just it's an awesome thing. So
it's an honor to know them.
Oh, absolutely, yes, and right. partner up with them to, help bring change there. I mean, it's we understand that we are a blessed people in America, and we have the ability to help. So, I would call out other businesses to make sure that you're not just doing things in your business for only your gain, but for the gain of the kingdom, I guess you could say. And so, all the businesses that are involved in building that, what we just seen, thank you. It's going to make a massive impact. So,
absolutely.
Can we? I don't know if we can, but that picture of that hole. Just get back on that and understand that was 2 days a 50-year-old man dug that by himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about like with any type of equipment. I'm talking about with a shovel, a bag, shoot the dirt up, and then climbing his way back out.
Yeah, they said he uses like buckets with ropes to like pull up the dirt, and he built, as you dig it down, he dug like grooves in the side to be able to climb out, like steps in the side to be able to climb out, and in 2 days.
50 years old. What a man.
Yeah,
that's what I would like to see him. That dude looked like a stud, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we spent some time while we were in Cessi. We actually had the great opportunity. You heard Pastor Kip talk about Queen Elizabeth Park, to go on some safaris. For me, one of the best days when we were over there. I think the kids were probably take the top, but to have a day that we kind of got to just experience the country was pretty awesome. So you can kind of see kind of us kind of talk about we had to get up very early that morning.
That was rough, man.
I think we ended up getting up about 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it was early because I was that was the hotel we stayed at. I think that was the first one that I actually had air conditioner in it.
Yeah.
And it was so nice and cool in there, and I was sleeping so good. When my alarm went off, it was very like I did not want to get up, but what we experienced that day was worth every bit of it.
100%.
Yes.
So check this video out. It kind of intros us going out on the safari.
Well, good morning, guys. We are, as you can see in my background, beautiful sun coming up. We are actually at the equator on our way out to a safari this morning. We're going to do a land safari, and then after lunch we're going to do a water safari. So it's going to be an awesome day. You know, when you go on a mission field, it's always nice to take a few days just to enjoy the or a mission trip, I should say. It's nice to be able to go out and just enjoy the country a little bit. So today that's what we're going to do, and I think it's can't tell me that God's not waking up the world and painting a beautiful picture this morning. So we're fired up. I know Corey is. He ain't even paying attention.
It happens.
It does happen.
That's what happens when nothing's scripted. You miss your cues sometimes. But I'm excited. I'm ready to go see a lion eat something. Hopefully not one of us. But if that's what happens, I mean, what a great way to go out. I mean, would you rather die in your bed at 90 years old or say I got eaten by a lion? I mean, I would think my kids would be like, that was awesome. So,
I mean, they'd be in school and be like, I bet your dad didn't die from being eaten by a lion.
Did your dad? And I mean, and let me just directly to my boys, if this does happen, I do get eaten by a lion, Daddy did put up a fight. I ain't going out like some punk. That lion's gonna know I'm there, okay? It's gonna have some sore ribs, okay? Because I'm gonna be all over them things. Probably not gonna have a tail anymore. Probably not. My initial strategy is to try to get it in a chokehold. And once that's probably not going to work because it's a pretty girthy neck. But I'm just going to go crazy. I mean, just that's all you can do. So, just know that.
The sunrise, guys. How about that?
Oh man, that was, like I said, God was painting a picture. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I've seen a sunrise.
How about this right here? So some of you guys that are Facebook friends with us probably saw this on my page. We got greeted with the elephant as we're coming into the park. I mean, like the Walmart greeter as you're walking in. That dude was huge. Clinton,
I got so excited when I seen him. Like, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, this elephant wasn't little. This was a massive elephant. And let me tell you something. When he turned and towards us and looked at me, let's just say there was a different side of adrenaline that came out of that. I will be honest. It was remarkable. So
yeah. I think for us, number one, those trucks were so comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I almost fell asleep several times, like, just being out there because it's so peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seeing all these animals. Like, Lyndon, like, talk to me about what kind of because me and you rode side by side, so we kind of had the same perspective. What did you think about the safari?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I actually got a pretty cool video of two of these. I forget what they're called. Two of those fighting each other. You can hear them hitting horns and everything. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So we went from there to and there's so much footage that we can't put everything in here, and but so be looking out for a lot more of the safari in later videos. But what we're looking at now is actually the start of the water safari, and man, we got right up on them hippos and the elephants and stuff, and just seeing them in their natural habitats was remarkable. I mean, the size. You know, you view a elephant, or you see an elephant in a zoo, mm-hmm. or a hippo in a zoo, it does no justice to mm-hmm. seeing them in their habitat. I mean, you realize real quick that you are not at the top of the food chain anymore.
No, I know that elephant like that we saw. I mean, and guys, like, that video don't do it justice. When Clinton says that him and the elephant made eye contact, I mean, what, 4 foot away?
Oh yes, like I was trying to decide where I was going to go, because if he wanted to just turn and wreck us, he could have done it without even blinking an eye.
So it's kind of, so we were in two different cars. So I think Clinton and Lyndon were in the front car with Pastor Kip and Stephen, and then you had myself, Micah, Pastor Micah, Connie, and Jimmy in the other car. And so we're kind of sitting there, and Micah sees it. Okay, so we see it coming around y'all's car, and we're all like, whoa, like everybody just kind of stops. And like one of the funniest thing, as he's walking up, we see it walking by y'all's car, and Pastor Micah just rolls up his window like it's gonna make any difference. And like, you know, he was like, guys, if he wanted to, that dude could destroy us. And so, just a little background context, though, we had actually had a similar Pastor Micah had went on a mission trip. He was telling us about safaris and stuff, and he went on one in Rwanda, and he talked to us about how he got charged by an elephant. And so when they charge, they kind of flap their ears back and forth and kind of get real aggressive, and then they charge. And so the entire time that elephant's walking up, I'm like trying to see, like, is he flapping his ears? Like, I'm trying to, like, it's going to make any difference, because I'm just sitting in a car. But guys, I mean, even seeing, you know, we got to see some lions. We got to see a ton of water buffalo. We seen some baboons.
Yeah. Warthogs everywhere.
Oh, I mean, Pumbas,
was,
as they call them, which, you know, it was just so awesome to be out there in nature. And for all of us that are you know, really outdoors kind of people, you know, it was just so awesome to see God's creation out there. So Jimmy, what was your favorite part of the safari?
Oh man, hard to really pinpoint one specific thing, but they were all, it was all really it's really nice. Just getting out there, especially at that sunrise, and then that elephant just opening us up to that right there, and seeing it, and just like, man, what a massive animal. I've been to zoos, completely different.
Yeah, we
had a really good time.
We didn't get to see a lion eat anything. That was the only disappointing thing.
That was
a
little disappointing.
I tried to get, when we seen some lions, they were kind of sleeping under a tree. I was trying to get somebody to run out there, and maybe Corey, and then run back and bring them closer. But you know, they frowned upon that. They said that probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah,
I mean, like you seen in the video, like I thought that was going to happen according to what Corey was saying about fighting a lion.
The thing was, here's the deal. We saw a female lion and 3 cubs. I didn't want to take that mama from them 3 cubs. You know, I didn't want to do that to her. She's got a family to raise, you know. And I certainly didn't want to take out one of the cubs.
Yeah,
I mean,
we had such a good time.
Dude,
Like you know, we seeing all these videos and everything. We had so much fun as a group, man. Like, memories that were made were just remarkable throughout this whole thing. I mean, just a lot of jokes, I mean, some gut wrenching laughter. Like it was a good time.
Yeah, so. I think it was. I think all of us as a team became closer.
Yes, I agree.
You know, but so we got to experience the safari, and that was such a life-changing thing for us. But so we headed back the next day to Imbarara, and so then we went to the Lighthouse Academy in Imbarara and spent some time with those kids, and just seeing another set of kids, another people that, you know, a group of people that are just desiring to take that next step, make a difference, and then their pursuit of the Lord.
I think this was kind of a newer school that they had recently kind of started having a lot of connections with.
Yeah.
And a lot of there's a lot of needs there as well.
100%.
You know, one thing and that I want to share as well, you know, there was a comment made that a lot of them children may have never had ever ate any meat even.
Yeah.
That kind of took me back. Like, I'm like, what do you mean they didn't ever taste any meat?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just because of that's the definition of how poor they are. I mean, and
they really are doing the most with what they have.
Yeah,
like they're
100%.
The different schools we visited and stuff. They don't have a lot of books. They don't even really have desks. They just kind of pack into this little room, and the teacher writes stuff on the board, and they learn it. But they learn it.
They learn it. Yeah.
They're very attentive.
Yeah.
So we got a video of us kind of being introduced at that school. So we'll let Pastor Micah kind of tell a little bit more about it.
Okay, so these are my special friends, and I want you to know something. These people came all the way from America to see you. For this group, this is their first time in Africa.
This is why we can't have wooden structures.
So here they use firewood to prepare the meals. So this is the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times these pots will crack and they'll start leaking. And when that happens, they can't get the water to the correct temperature in order for the water to be safe. Because the water goes down, gets on the fire, they can't get the fire hot enough, and it's hard to, it takes longer for them to make food. And those pots are expensive to replace. So what they do is they take them to a welder and they'll weld them. But
yeah, it was like, as you can see there, you know, that just like the kitchen. I mean, that's their kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, but I love how the excitement of them children, like,
dude.
You know, just that little clip you've seen, that's them the whole time you're there.
Yeah.
They are just so excited for you know, to be there, or for you to be there.
Yeah, and seeing them, they danced for us, you know, and then they did a couple of worship songs, and seeing their heart pour out for the Lord. And as we're touring the facility and stuff, you know, we were seeing their classrooms, and this is where they learn, but it's also where they sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you got a 10 by 10 room that, you know, they're telling us, you know, 60 kids could be sleeping in. And then you think back to the worship service, you see their situation, and they sang a song that, to be honest, it just keeps ringing in my ear and in my head. You know, they sang a song that says, you know, Lord, you know, how blessed is your name, you know, and they're so thankful for everything God's given them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, from an American's perspective, you're like, you don't have that much.
Right.
And to me, my heart was so convicted.
Oh yes.
I think I probably cried a lot in that service. That how thankful they are to God for everything they give, and it just convicted my heart on a spiritual level of, you know, how much I've taken advantage of the grace of God, and how much I've taken advantage of His faithfulness in my life.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, just you know, going into the way they get water at this school.
Yeah.
It's about a kilometer downhill to a lake, and they carry jugs down this steep hill twice a day. I think I heard. I think for them to get enough for the school, they have to do it twice a day. And these are young children doing it. There's this is not an easy task, and so we had decided that we would love to give you know, at least do one of their trips down there. And so, you know, Micah mentioned it to us, and we're like, we're all in. Of course we're going to do this. I mean, I ain't going to let, you know, we can save the kids from having to do this one time, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was another side to that we didn't really think ahead of.
Yeah. The walk down was great. But as most things in our life, it's that back half, that going uphill, that began to be challenging. And I think Sean's got some video of us going down and trying to help these kids out. So go ahead, Sean.
should have started it more on that note. Yeah, that's the note you should have started. Hey!
That's more the issue than anything is my hands.
So you could see wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of footage that probably shouldn't be played because we were literally dying. Like you mentioned how much you think them cans weighed.
Man,
how much you think they weighed?
I'll tell you.
35 to 50 pounds.
I'll tell you how much they weighed at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
They probably weighed about 35, 50 pounds, but at the top of the hill, they probably weighed about 600 pounds. That's how it felt.
Like we were. There's some photos and things that we will show here that kind of describes how rough it was. It was a challenge. I'll say that. I never thought it was going to be that tough
100%.
when we're headed down there.
There's a picture of me and Lyndon, and I know it looks like I'm about to just croak over. Like there was a comment made that they should have just dug 6 graves at the top of the hill and just buried us after. But that's it. Literally, at one point, I stopped, and I was sitting there, and I was like, "This is where I'm gonna die." Like I had come to terms with it, and it wasn't the strength side of it; it was the lung capacity. Like for me, like I had just ran out of wind, and so I know it was like that night before I felt like I could breathe again. Lyndon, I know you probably had the least trouble walking up the hill, but even you had some times you had to stop.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't leave my man behind either. I had to stay back with you. But my forearms, like from holding, I had 2 jugs, and I just couldn't keep a hold of them. I had to keep stopping and letting my forearms rest a little bit.
I remember that we'd come up to like a little checkpoint, and there'd be somebody sitting there, and I'm just like, please do not ask me a question. I can't breathe to talk.
Yeah.
Please don't try to talk to me.
That's what like everybody kept being like, "Hey Corey, you okay?" And I'm like, I can't talk right now. Like I would just like nod or be like, yes, I'm okay. Like,
yeah. You know, the sad thing about that is, you know, that's a big need, man.
Yeah.
Like you know, getting them like at that first school we were at, they were able to get running water to there, and you know, that's the kind of things that they need over there. They need people to be willing to do their part to be able to get them resources, because that takes a lot of their time as well. That's what we got to understand is, you know, they are in survival mode. So if we can help them kind of overcome some of them obstacles, it gives them even more time to, you know, focus on other areas that could, you know, better their lives and make their lives better. So, but yeah, that was a fun experience.
It was really awesome. Looking back on it, if Pastor Micah, you know, next time we go over, if he asks us to carry some jerry cans, I'll probably be like, well, let's put them in the van. But I think it was really awesome to experience.
It was the experience. Yeah, the wise thing would have been to probably put it in the van and go up and down twice, but you know, we wanted to experience what they are experiencing themselves. So
I was waiting on like, you know, if one person said, I'm going to do it, you know, all of us men
that's what happened is Pastor Michael was like, hey, do y'all want to do this? And I think Clinton jumped right in there and was like, absolutely. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, but I wasn't going to be like, nah, you guys can do that. Like, not going to do that. So it was such an awesome experience though. And, I'll probably hit the gym a little bit more before I do it, again, probably get that lung capacity up just a little bit, but I don't know if there's any prep, that you can do to do that.
You would be in shape if you did that twice a day. I promise.
100%.
It's humbling to know that those kids do that twice a day.
Yeah.
Just it humbled me. I know it humbled you guys. Yeah. Just getting to the top and dying.
Yeah.
And the kids are looking at you just like.
You know what hit me was when I topped that hill. there was I think it was like 3 children that were probably 5, 6 at the most, were like standing there, like reaching out to me for them to carry the cans the rest of the way, and I'm like, no. No, this ain't happening. There is no way that I'm allowing a 5 or 6 year old to come and take these jugs from me to carry the final 50 yards.
Yeah.
But that was, to them wouldn't have been much to it.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, you already got it up here. Let me help you out." But it was such a great experience to see. So to kind of finish up, we left Imbarara. We actually had a little that was on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We spent some time in Imbarara doing some other things that we're going to kind of talk about in a later episode. Went to church at Daystar Cathedral there in Imbarara, and it's such an awesome time there. But we ended up leaving after church. We drove back to Cessi. No, I'm sorry, not Cessi. Kampala. And kind of getting back to get us where we were going to be leaving on Tuesday. And we kind of worked in, I think we've talked a little bit about on this podcast that a lot of us are big golfers. And Pastor Kip and Pastor Mike also play golf. So we got the chance to go play a really, really beautiful golf course at Lake Victoria golf course. And so for us, that was a big deal. It was a really cool experience because they actually give you caddies. So to get to play like your own tour, you had to walk the course. I know that was by about hole 16, my ankles and my feet were yelling. But what a beautiful, and you could see in these pictures, such a beautiful course, very challenging course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Let me ask Jimmy, how many balls did you lose?
I do not want to say. No, I lost probably 20 balls, and I was definitely the laughing stock. The
caddies were trying to
get. Were probably made.
The caddies were trying to get your swing figured out, and they finally just said, "Aim way left."
Yeah. They started giving him his putter from way off the fringe too, instead of a wedge.
Use this.
Yeah, they we split up in 2 groups, so we had a little competition. So we had you 3 and Pastor Micah versus me, Pastor Kip, Stephen, and Conrad were all in my group, and so we started out playing one game on the front 9, and then we kind of need to speed it up a little bit, so we played like a true scramble on the back 9. And I asked Pastor Kip on like the 3rd hole if his back was hurting yet from carrying our team. So Pastor Kip's
good.
He's a really good golfer, and so I was really thankful that I picked him on my team because we won. And I just want that to be said. Nothing I did nothing. Okay. It was all Pastor Kip, and Steven actually had some really good shots, and Connie had some good shots, but I did nothing.
Yeah, it was to golf at a place like that and have a caddy and everything, the experience, and they're right there with you. You have conversations with the caddy, you talk about their life and what they're experiencing. You really got to know them good, and that was just in that in itself was a lot of fun. By the way, David is my caddy. If he hears this, great job, because you did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, my caddy, she was awesome. She tried to fix my swing a little bit, and I think it got me a little bit because my swing is not a conventional swing at all, but it works. And so she tried to fix it a couple times. I think it just went downhill from there. I should have just stuck with what I was doing, but
it was a good time rolling up into that y'all are the group in front of us. Actually, y'all passed us on the course because we were playing so slow. And also some of the guys had to get to the airport, that afternoon. So, but yeah, you did a phenomenal job calling.
Yeah. So the 18th green is an island green, number 1. So if you don't know it's just basically a green out there in the middle of the lake. So you got to be pretty precise. And so, but the cool thing was our group had finished before y'all started. So me and Conrad actually they had a little deck that you could see the 18th green. So we went in there. We got us a cold Coke, and I think he got him a Crest. And we walked out. We just kind of sat and saw you guys finishing up your round. So I took the opportunity to do my best audition to call the next year's Masters. So you can take a look at this video. Group 2 now on the 18th green. Clinton Yoder blows a shot that probably was a makeable putt. Now they are letting their caddies putt for them, which is really honestly against the rules and probably will forfeit the match for it, but misses the putt as well. Wow. Lyndon Yoder now lining up the putt in his traditional catcher's stance, like it's going to make any difference. Lyndon Yoder, calf showing, unlike most Mennonites of his community. Lines up the putt and puts it down the hill. It's got good pace. Does it have the line? And misses the putt. Clinton goes down, and that has to be embarrassing for Lyndon. And taps it in. Incredible stuff. And now Jimmy looks like he's now going to go back up there and try the putt. This is a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off for him. Jimmy Herndon. A lot of people call him Big Ears McGee. He's still lining up the putt. And he putts it. It comes down the hill. It is moving, and past the hole. So definitely not the ending that they would like, but wow. What a round of golf. The traditional hats come off, the shaking of the hands, the commencement of a round well done.
Corey, that was done pretty well.
I think I got another career opportunity. So people at the Masters, y'all give me a call. But just an awesome experience. And that afternoon we went and hung out by the pool and got a massage and everything. And it was just a cool experience to be there. And then we kind of the next morning got up and hopped on the plane and came home. And so
it was that flight on the way back was tough. I'll just be honest.
It was brutal.
I fell asleep and thought I slept for the whole flight, and I woke up and it still said 9 hours later. Yeah. So that was.
It felt like we were on that flight home longer than we were in Africa.
I think so.
I know at one point, like I had looked at it, it was like 8 hours left on the flight. And I watched an entire movie, and then I went back and checked it, and it was like 7 hours and 45 minutes. Like that. Like I felt like we were just stuck in time.
Yeah.
But man, it was so good to be home. So good to see my family. Yes. Be back. Now we're back with the team, and I think it's given us just such a fire to make things happen here, so that we can, in turn, make things happen over there. But guys, I mean, I had such a fun time, and it's going to be, like I say, we got a whole nother episode we want to talk about with this. We've got a whole nother video that we're going to make of the whole trip, and it's going to be a something that I think for all of us is just life-changing, and we hope that you guys seeing this, it can help you understand that you don't have to just sit on the sidelines. You can get active. Like, you can go and partner with 130. They're a great organization. But it doesn't have to be 130. Find something you're passionate about and make a difference. Yeah. And like we say it all the time on this podcast, lead with purpose. Find something that gives you that purpose. For us, it's this. It doesn't matter if it's somewhere local. It doesn't have to be all over the world. But find something that gives you purpose and lead with that.
Yes. And I would say that, there's a lot of things we did not show on here. There's a lot of things that, a lot of content that it's really good that we just touched the surface of our trip, and the impact that it left on each one of our lives will forever feel it, will forever change our focus even a little more here at work. But I would say defining this week for me, or the 10 days we were there for me, would be that I realized that God has me right where I need to be, and I can make the biggest impact right where I am. So everybody out there, where you are today is where you can make the biggest impact. God may call me into somewhere different, may call some of us into something different one day. But if we continue living our life according to his will, that where you stand is where you're supposed to be and where your purpose is. So make sure that you're making the biggest impact with what you have. Over there was mentioned that they make do with what they have, and they make do well with what they have. So don't ever get to a point where you're only looking out for yourself. Always have that servant heart, and we preach that all the time. It's who we are here in our business, and it's who you need to be in your business or in your life, whatever aspect of life you're in. Is make sure that you're not only doing it for your own benefit, but what can I do above this for others? And that goes right into the verse of the week. I want to share. It says, "Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly, nor of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver." I think, and that's found in 2 Corinthians 9:7. I think that verse goes so well with our experience in Africa. God loves a cheerful giver. That doesn't mean that you have to give a lot, and it doesn't mean that you have to give to Africa, but wherever God has it in your heart, give of what you have, because it can make more of an impact. And that's one thing I realized over there, is how little funding or whatever that is from America can impact them in a big way. A little bit can impact them in a big way. So yeah, check out 130 Network. They're a great group of guys and gals there that are truly wanting to make a difference in this world. And it's just, I feel like that verse goes well. It says, as he purposeth in his heart. That's whatever God, tells you to do. Make sure you're doing it. Make sure you obey God's calling on your life in giving and in your business and so forth. So, guys, I enjoyed this. Enjoyed just a recap of the whole trip. Going through a lot of the videos and photos and things, just kind of bring it all back to what we actually experienced. And I hope each one of the viewers out there today truly felt and can feel what we're trying to show y'all. And I know this one was a lot of more of the enjoyment things and a lot of the fun things we did. But remember to check back with our podcast, because there will be another episode really focused on the why and what the needs and the impact and so forth that you can make. And it was just, guys, it changed our hearts. And I'll tell you this, every listener out there, if you ever get an opportunity to go to a country like that, don't turn it down, because it'll change you for the better. I promise you that. That's a guarantee. It'll change you for the better. So, guys, thank y'all so much for coming on, spending some time with us, Jimmy and Lyndon. I really enjoyed it. Listeners, make sure that you continue to subscribe, continue to comment back and forth to our videos. This podcast is really continuing to grow. By the way, we hit our 50,000 subscribers since our last episode.
Well, while we were in Africa.
Yeah, while we were in Africa.
Got that news, and we're so thankful for you guys, because honestly, I know for me and you, when we sit and talk about it, we are amazed by it, because like we joke, and this is really true, we're just two rednecks from Alabama that have just been given this opportunity to share life experiences, share things like that. So for 50,000 people to say, like, hey, I want to see your content, it means the world to us. And really, we don't just absorb that. I know personally, when I see that, I give glory to God, because
Amen.
that's at the end of the day who that should go to. So we hope that you guys are getting true value out of this. And one thing I will say, if there's a topic that you say, hey, Corey, I want to know more about this. Let us know in the comments. Follow our Facebook page. Let us know those things, and we'll try to cover them as we can.
Yes, absolutely. So, as we always say, as we leave a podcast, we love y'all. Share this, like, subscribe, and always, in every aspect of your life, you all are leaders of some kind. So make sure that every time that you are leading, that you're leading with a purpose behind it. And I promise you, not only will you change your life, your family, your community, but you can change the world. And so we need more servant leaders. So I love y'all. God bless you. And thank you so much for watching. Hey guys, thank you so much for being with us today. We're so excited to continue this season. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify.
And make sure to leave us a comment. We would love to hear your thoughts. And remember, always lead with a purpose.